is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Hey there folks, and welcome to another random rambling of mine. It has been a while, hasn't it, since I did a bit of a gaming type one. Well, it's a bit of gaming and it's a bit of channel update really as to how my recording equipment has changed through to my camcorder dying. Anyone who was watching the first music vlog that I did, of which there's going to be more of, and I'm not going to do music stuff in these sorts of vlogs. They'll be kept for them separately. There will be more of them coming. But anyone who watched that first vlog that I did, the first music vlog, may have noticed at the end things started going a bit dodgy with the picture. And it effectively froze on me about 2 minutes before I was due to stop talking. And I had to try and get the thing revived to a point where it would record just for a couple more minutes, and I did finally get to do it, which is why there's a bit of a split at the end, and then it suddenly says, and that's it for this week, and that's why. And the camcorder is effectively dead, and it was a really good little camcorder. It was a Panasonic and a V130 or something like that. I can't remember its full name. I think it was a V130 or something, and I've had it for God knows how long. Must be about five years or so, and so it did me really proudly, and I loved the little thing, and I was really gutted that it went, because I thought, am I going to find one within the same price range that's as good, and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, at that point, I thought, because it's been bugging me for quite a while, I had an iPhone 5S, and it's a great little phone, and the reason I liked it was because you could use it with one hand. If you go any bigger than that, you sort of start using things with two hands and what have you. Just a little thing, just a little personal thing, a preference, if you will. But it had been bugging me that I should move up to a better phone. A, because my eyesight's not what it was, people. I'm getting awfully old. And my eyesight's not great, so every time I go to look at stuff, the text's really small and what have you. So I was thinking about going for a bigger phone anyway, and it was bugging me that when I did ad hoc vlogs, when you'll notice I did one not that long ago where I was in the garden, and I decided just to do a lazy vlog on my phone, and it's great when you're watching it back on mobile devices, but the minute you watch that on a standard screen, the picture was awful, because the 5S was only capable of doing, well, I could only get it to record at 480p or whatever it was, or 360, I can't even remember. But it was awful. You could record really good with the back camera, I think that was 720p, but the front camera was only and there's, to try and do an ad hoc one with the back camera, you no idea if you're in shot or not, or what's going on. So anyway, it was in my head. So when the camcorder died, I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't get a camcorder then. Maybe I should just go for, I was gonna, every time I thought about getting the bigger phone, it was always the 6S I was thinking about, because I wanted the headphone jack on it, and anything after the 6S doesn't have a headphone jack. It has the standard cable link that you have to share with your powering and all the rest of it. So, but when I investigated it, I discovered that the 6S doesn't have a 1080p front camera, so the 7S does. Or the 7, sorry, it's not a 7S yet, but it's a 7. So it was a 7 or an 8, and looking at the prices, it was like, well, but for what I would get out of an 8, it wasn't really worth paying that money to get a low-end 8 when I could get the high-end 7. So if I'm going to be an ad hoc filming of myself, I can give you guys that in 1080p, 30 frames per second, I think, and it gives me 128 gig on the phone, because I paid the extra £100 and got the 128 gig. So you'll have heard, from what I've just said there, you'll know that I bought the iPhone. So I thought, if I can do all my recording on the iPhone, then I don't need a camcorder. But then I thought, well, yeah, but my camcorder did 60 frames per second at 1080p, so is the quality going to be as good from the phone as it is with the camcorder? Anyway, I ended up buying both. The long and the short of it. So what I'm recording just now is coming from my brand new Panasonic camcorder, of which is a much higher model than the one that I had. It is the Panasonic HCW580. There it is. And it's an absolute beauty. And I didn't realise when I bought it that just there, when you look at this front bar where you can look at your image, you flip that round, you can see yourself, yeah. So, but here there's another camera, so you can actually film two pictures at the same time. I've not figured out. I haven't even tried it, but it basically there's a little camera here, and you can spin it in different angles, so you can actually record what's in front of you and spin that round and record what's behind you. You know, record you and what's over there as well, which is very, very cool. So I've no idea if I'm going to have that. I didn't notice it when I was going through all the specs and everything. It just didn't. I think the pictures I was looking at were maybe so small that I didn't notice it. But a brilliant little feature. I might find some way of using it for some purpose or other. But yeah, absolutely brilliant so far. This is the first time. I say so far, this is the first time I've tried recording with it. So I've no idea how it's going to be good, bad or indifferent compared to the one that we had before. However, it is a Hauer model. So, I'm not sure how the light sensitivity is going to work and all that sort of stuff, and whether I need to tweak some settings, I've no idea. Well, this one does have, which is awesome, that the old one didn't, is a touchscreen. With the old one, it was like little buttons next to it, and it was a little bit fiddly messing around with it, whereas this is all on the screen, touch, bang, off you go. It's also got an auto shutter on it, so the minute you power it on, the lens opens up and shuts down when you power it off, whereas the other one had a flip thing, and so it's just a very slick piece of kit, and I'm really chuffed with it. I'm really glad that I spent the money. I mean, anyone who knows, well, I don't have phone contract anymore. I decided that at this point in my life, just at this stage in my life, at the moment, I don't do an awful lot of texting or phone calling to people that aren't on another iPhone. And it's very rare that I tap into the 3G or whatever, so there's no point in me having a contract. So I a long time ago, I might have talked about this in previous vlogs, but a long time ago, I moved to pay-as-you-go. And I bought an iPhone straight off, which was the 5S that I just had. And in fact, I've still got it. It's still down here, waiting for someone to buy it from me. And I've factory reset it and everything. So at that point, I decided to... I had a mind blank there, people. What am I going on about? I think I'll have a little sip of my flagon, shall I? Cheers, everybody. I have remembered what I was talking about. There's nothing I can... This is my first one, I promise you. So, that was lovely, that. So when I got the 5S, I dumped the contract and got a pay-as-you-go SIM from 3, who had the best offer on pay-as-you-go, and I'm still with them now. It's the 3-2-1 deal, which basically means it's 3 pence per minute for a phone call, 2 pence per text message, and 1 pence per meg of download. I mean, that's just awesome. And I don't use anywhere near. I mean, you're lucky if I top up that phone with £10 a month. I mean, it's usually 2 months for 10 quid in my life at the minute. Because even though I do a fair bit of messaging and a fair bit of chatting, it's always over Wi-Fi. So I have no purpose. I'm not out and about a lot. So, it just doesn't make sense for me to be paying £30 or £40 a month for a contract just to have a nice phone. So I never. So that was the first time I'd bought an iPhone outright. I saved up, I bought it, and it's mine. This time around, I've done exactly the same thing. I've paid for the iPhone 7 and I've paid for the camcorder, and I've no contracts, and they'll be paid off in a couple of months, and that's it. So, well, I say paid off. I've got money to pay them now, but I thought I'll slap them on the card, and just pay them off within a couple of months rather than tap into all my savings. But I could pay it off now, I suppose. But by the by, I just decided to buy them outright, and I'm absolutely delighted with both of them. And I think having done it, I'll probably have to bail out of a holiday I was going to have at the beginning of next year. But but never mind, eh? As I've just got this wonderful house and the garden to enjoy, I've not got that big an itch to go travelling anyway, even though my passport's all sorted out. I'm more than happy to spend my holiday time at home. So there you are. So what I'll do, I went off on a tangent there, but what I'll do, in fact, let me show you this and let me show you no more. So here's my little iPhone, or my new bigger iPhone. The iPhone 7, people. I do love the boxes the iPhones come in. They're sexy. Sexy. You only ever look at it twice. Once when you unpack it, and once when you're putting the damn thing in to sell it to somebody else. But they're sexy. So I also bought, because most of the time I do an ad hoc vlog, I usually just hold the phone up and that's that. But I thought, well, if I don't want to set up the whole cadoodle and I just want to grab the tripod and pop the iPhone on it and do a quick vlog that way, so the camera's still, I could do that. And so I bought this little thing. It was only like $5 or something, but it's basically a holder for it that goes onto the tripod that I've got the camcorder on now. and it sits on there. So there's a bit on the bottom of the camcorder that unscrews, screws onto here, and then I just slot it in and camera's still ready to record. And outside of the fact that the microphone obviously is not going to be as awesome as this Rode microphone, you won't know that much of a difference with a bit of luck. What I'll do is I will slot in at some point here some footage of me recording myself on this, and we'll try and see if there's any massive difference. I mean, there will be a light difference because the way this is sensitive to light is obviously going to be different than the camcorder and stuff, but we'll maybe get an idea of how good the 1080p front camera is with 30 frames per second, as opposed to this one, which is 60 frames per second. So I'll try and do that, and I'll slot it in here. Hey there guys, so this is me on the iPhone 7 and not using the Rode microphone, just talking through the iPhone's microphone as well. So I noticed that the colour keeps sort of changing, so the light's impacting what's going on, but it's just because I've got sunshine coming through there, I've got sunshine coming through there. So I think it's getting a little bit confused, but hopefully the quality is good, hopefully it does come out in 1080p. And hopefully that's given us an idea of what it's going to be like when, as I say, mainly when I do these, I'm going to be holding it in my hand. But it's great to have this thing on the tripod, which is what it's on now. And hopefully that looks great. It's going to be a lot better than the 5S ones I was throwing up that were at 380p. So, yeah, awesome. Yes, so onward. So there we are. We have a new recording. We have a new recording kit. New gadgets, people. New gadgets. Oh, there's never going to be a day when some form of electronic equipment, doesn't matter what it is, gets me excited. God, I bought a bloody vacuum when I moved into this house, and that got me excited at one point. A bloody Dyson. I thought my Henry Hoover was awesome, but that Dyson, my God, that thing could take over the planet. So that was my gadgety goodness for last week when I was on holiday. I've been moving on. I've been listening, I've been looking, and I've been watching all sorts of videos and IGN stuff. And there's an awful lot of people now starting to ramble on about what might be happening at E3 and all this sort of stuff. Now, Sony, it's going to be interesting this E3 because Sony have still got some big guns to come out. They've still got Days Gone, they've still got Spider-Man, they've still got The Last of Us 2, and they've still got Death Stranding. And, and they've still got the Ninja game, something of Tsushima or something like that, which also looks really good. Although we haven't seen any gameplay footage of that yet, I don't think. So they've still got some really big guns to come. And interestingly, the Ninja one, Last of Us 2, Spider-Man, and Death Stranding are all going to be focused on at E3. Sony have come out and said that. And that's quite surprising, and it also makes me think that we might actually be getting Last of Us 2 this year or very early spring, because that to me doesn't we've been seeing quite a lot of Days Gone, which over the last year we've seen a fair bit of footage, and they just released an hour's worth. I think the first hour of the game they were just doing that with Game Informer, I think it was, and they were showing that off, and it looks awesome. And it looks like a really polished product, but it's not at E3 at all. And it's like, well, clearly it's not coming this year. I think they've said that anyway. And that's fine. But to not be showing it at all would suggest to me that that game is actually further off than we think it is. I thought that game might have been, spring or summer next year. But if they're not even showing it at this E3, I'm not even sure what that means. Or is it simply that they've got so many big guns that they don't want to launch them all at the same time? Because if they launch them all now, they've got nothing to fill out the next year. And we're pretty sure that we're not going to get a PS5 next year. It's going to be the year after. So I think I'm not overly sure that it's actually a case of the fact that that game's needing a lot more work. I think it's more a case that they don't want to throw all their big guns out there all at the same time. It makes no sense to do it. So, you want to be teasing people to buy the PS4 Pros for as long as you can until the PS5 is going to come. So it is an interesting one. It'll be interesting to see. The more interesting part for me is how Microsoft are going to do anything to compete, because they really have to start pulling some big guns out game-wise. Because everything we're seeing at the minute, I mean, I love my Xbox One X. I've finally fallen in love with Xbox again because of that piece of hardware. It is absolutely brilliant. It's awesome. And there's a little bit of me that actually wants to go on that more than wants to go on the PS4 Pro. And it's just don't know. I love it. I love it. I love the design of it. I love the new controller. I love the whole thing's just really nice. I've always loved the way that the G's pop up on Microsoft and all this sort of stuff. So I've always had a big love for Microsoft, but I just lost it with that Xbox One initially because it was just so all over the shop. But this Xbox One X, I mean, Phil Spencer's done a terrific job there. But we still don't have any games to be shouting about. Okay, State of Decay 2's just coming out. But again, it's only getting like good reviews. It's not getting awesome reviews. And it's only like 28 quid or something, or 25 quid. It's not even full whack, you know. So they're clearly not treating it like a AAA title. So it's like, well, where's your AAAs then? Because that's obviously not one of them. And frankly, the State of Decay 1 was all right for a bit, but it gets pretty repetitive. There's only so many times you can walk around opening up boxes and picking up pieces of shit that and taking care of people. And, you know, that's not what a zombie game's about for me as such. It needs to be more interesting. Like, living in a world, I get it, like collecting resources, building up areas and blah. But you need to care about, like, that environment that you're in. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of folk in a place. You know, it's like when I played XCOM, I realised that's a completely different type of game. But when I play XCOM, I haven't played XCOM 2 yet, although I've got it in my collection ready to play. I wouldn't mind doing a few Let's Plays on that, actually. But XCOM 1, LetsCom, that's what I'll call it. LetsCom, Part 1. Yeah, when I played XCOM, I was gutted every time I lost a soldier. It was like, no! Because I spent time designing them and making them really cool and giving them cool names, and, you know, and then when they died, it was like, God damn it! You know, and you'd get them really built up with and I just never got that from State of Decay 1. Maybe it's more there in State of Decay 2, but I watched about half an hour's gameplay of State of Decay 2 online, and I was already bored, you know. It was like, nah, it's the same stuff over and over again. But with XCOM, it was really clever the way they sort of attached you to these things you were creating. It was the way they made you create them and build them up. To lose somebody was like, oh, God damn it, I've got to bring in a rookie and train them all up again. So that's all missing. So Microsoft need to be showing something at E3 that's big. I know Crackdown's still to come, but for me, that's still not, like, it's not a big enough title. Like, they need new IPs. And they have to have been developing stuff. They have to. And we know that Fable's coming back into the mix, even though Lionhead got shut down, which is just a travesty. But another studio of Microsoft's is doing another Fable game, so maybe that'll get teased, but it's still going to be a way off that game, even if they've done some cutscenes and stuff for it. And you still get the only other things other than you're going to get something. They've got to tease something from Halo. They've got to tease something from the next Gears, because that's the only two big guns they've got. Like, I can't think of anything else on Xbox, unless Remedy have got something cooking, like another Alan Wake game or something like that, because they've not done anything since Quantum Break at the beginning, and it didn't really blow everybody out of the water. I mean, it was a good-looking game and stuff, but it struggled to perform on the Xbox One. It didn't have enough power to do what it wanted to do. It struggled on high-end PCs, that game. But, I mean, it's an impressive game, but it didn't blow the socks off people. So maybe Remedy have got something cooking. They've hinted that they're on with something, so it'd be interesting. But you never know. I mean, they have to have something to show. It's the biggest stage in the whole of the year, really, E3. Nothing beats it. So I'm really hoping that Microsoft pulls something out of the bag and give us something to get excited about, exclusivity-wise, and I hope they don't just do another, like, let's just steal Tomb Raider again, because that's not exclusive gaming. Like, exclusive gaming is your own devs creaming your machine for everything it can do. This is why the PlayStation games are so good. Like, their own devs spend so much time with that hardware, understanding how to cream every piece of power out of the thing, that you get this amazing result. Like, if you're just saying a Tomb Raider, we'll have it for the first year, that's not the same thing. Like, because they haven't spent that time with it. They're just generically making a game, which will be a great looking game, but it won't be as good as an exclusive game can be, written by your own studio that has just got all that time to invest in that one piece of hardware. So I really hope that they've got devs that are just working and they're going to show us something. Even if it's teasing us something for 2 years from now, that's fine. But start showing us where you're going and what your vision is for the big games for Xbox, because you gotta have some. Like you can't just be a generic thing. Now, I'm sure, without any doubt, that Phil Spencer's on it. I'm sure that there's devs working away in the background, but they've got to start pulling stuff out. This gen of consoles has not got that much longer to go, and I can't think of one massive new title that Xbox have brought out, really. Not a massive one. Not one that's blown the socks off people. So I'm hoping that this E3 they'll start pushing stuff out, teasing us with something, people. So there you are. So there's my little random talks. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about? Not so much. I think we've covered everything, people. There we are. So that's been quite nice, actually. Oh, no, there was. I was going to talk about... I played, if you'll have watched it, it was the last video that I put up. It was Divinity Original Sin Part 2. No, that's 4, Steve. That's 2. And I was really interested to see what this game was like, and when it arrived on the preview program on the Xbox One X, Xbox One, and so it's not launched yet, but it's on the preview program, so you can buy it now, and it's launched in a month, I think, or I think it's August, actually. I think it might be a few months away. So it won't hit, I don't think it'll hit the PlayStation until proper launch. But when I went on it, well, when I read about it and saw people talking about it, they said that you'd be able to try it without buying it, and then if you wanted to buy it, then you could just carry on the save that you had in the trial, which is quite cool. But when I went onto it, it was 50 quid. It was like, what? I didn't pay 50 quid for God of War, for God's sake, you know what I mean? I'm not paying 50 quid for Divinity Original Sin 2, and it's in preview mode as well, which means you're not getting a product that's finished and polished off yet. I mean, I realise it's been out on PC, but you're still getting something that may have problems and issues. So that was not a good move. I don't know who the hell decided to put that game on a preview program for £50. That's outrageous. I mean, it's outrageous to me that games have gone up to 45 quid as standard anyway at launch. I mean, I think developers are shooting themselves in the foot with that. I really do. Especially the smaller ones. It's just crazy, like, absolutely crazy. Far, far better sticking it out at a cheaper price and getting bigger turnover and bigger revenue, a bigger amount out there, so that people can see it, and that will generate in itself more people buying it. The minute you put 50 quid price tag on a game, it just puts people right off, especially people that might have been interested in trying it and then went, oh, no, don't think so. You know what I mean? I can play the bloody Witcher for a tenner now. 50 quid, I don't think so. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have a lot of respect for the studio that made it, and Larian, is it? Larian? And, they're a great group. If you watch the vlogs they do about the game and stuff, they're really good fun, and they have a bit of fun sort of promoting it and stuff. And I think it's, if I remember rightly, I think it's funded as well, crowdfunded possibly, or it's helped by crowdfunding, because they're constantly, for PC anyway, because they always are talking about things that the people that have helped will get in advance and stuff like that. So, we're not talking about a AAA studio. And even if we were, I'd be reluctant to be paying 50 quid. I haven't paid 50 quid for a game in my entire life. So why would I be paying 50 quid for Divinity Original Sin? I just wouldn't. I got Divinity Original Sin 1 for £25 around launch time. In fact, I think it was at launch. I got it for about 25 or 26 quid. It wasn't that dear. And it's as big a game as this one, so I don't understand why £50 price tag was slapped in. It's almost like they know no one can buy it anywhere else other than PC, so, screw it. If it was me running that studio, I'd be saying to Microsoft, right, we're in preview for 2 months. Anyone who buys it now gets it for 25 quid, and then when it comes out at launch, it's 40 quid. And that way, you've given an incentive to everybody to go and try it for 25 quid. And by the time it comes out, all your PlayStation folk and what have you are all paying 40 quid, which is what you would expect to pay for a normal game. But I do not understand it. Like, it's crazy. Like, I can guarantee you that the amount of people trying out that game is minimal in comparison to the amount of people that were chomping at the bit to get their hands on God of War or anything else. So just give people a reason to go and try it. People will pay 25. They'll pay 25 quid for State of Decay 2. Why are they going to pay 50 quid for Divinity Original Sin when they've no idea whether they're going to like an RPG like that? You're assuming that people know what those games are like. And they don't. Like, there's a lot of people that are like, why would I play an RPG like that when I can play The Witcher? And I've got, they're third person, blah. Unless you give people a chance to actually try an RPG like that, you're never going to get them interested in it, especially console gamers. They don't know. A lot of console gamers have never tried a game like that. a top-down RPG doing all this stuff. And unless you give them a reason to try it and fall in love with it, you're never going to get money out of them. Not a 50 quid. It's mental, that. Absolutely crazy. And it's all very well saying, well, we'll do it later. Yeah, but later, no one's interested. Like, they've gone off now. They've gone somewhere else. They've gone back to PlayStation with all the big guns coming out. Anyway, there you are. But having said all of that, it was a delight to play it. An absolute delight. I loved putting the video up. You guys have loved it. Loads of you saying you hope I'm going to play more of it. And I absolutely will. But I'm not paying £50 for it. It's a point of principle more than anything else. I've got 50 quid. But I'm not paying 50 quid for a preview game, a game of that size, from a game of a studio that size. No chance. I wouldn't pay 50 quid for a AAA title. So, you know, it's nothing against them. I just think they need to be thinking about that stuff more. It's crazy. But a lot of respect to them, and I love the game. So hopefully maybe someone will think about it and do something about the price and sort that out so people can get their hands on the damn thing without feeling robbed, people, you know. So there you are. That is all I had to talk about today. I've covered quite a lot there, I think, in a short space of time. 27 minutes is a long time for anyone to talk, even if they do love their own voice like me. So I'm going to go off and have some more of these in the sunshine, in the garden, where the sun is splitting the trees. And I hope you guys are going to enjoy your weekend as much as I will, with a lot of chilling out and enjoying of the sun. And I shall see you guys next time. Take it easy. Bye.